What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
This is UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs and Jason Bishop.
In my opinion, that sucked.
We failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriend.
Oh my God, did he really just say that?
UnCleated. Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop with you right here on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Today we've got to get into Braves playoffs, or really the lack thereof, their ability to play in the playoffs. We're also going to talk about Georgia, Missouri, the heartbreak that was. We're going to get into our top 25 roundup. And you know what? I think that I'm in the mood to talk a little bit about some of my favorite TV shows. We're also going to do that a little bit later on in the show. But obviously the thing that we're going to kick off with is Braves playoff baseball.
Well, what a sad week, I guess it was, if you're a Georgia sports fan. I mean, I don't think we have any team that, is doing anything. Every one of them lost, so Braves get bounced from the playoffs. But before we get into that, I'd like to wish my partner in crime over here a happy 33rd birthday. I wasn't supposed to say that. Wait a minute. 27 is what I really meant to say.
23. Let's keep going down.
Okay. Yeah. We're still, freshmen. So, anyway, happy birthday, man.
Well, thanks, man. I tell you what is, you dated me correctly the first time, and last night I went out and stayed out a good bit, celebrate my birthday. Stayed out pretty late and had to get up early this morning to be here, and it's not as easy getting up early as it was 10 years ago when you're out late, man. It was awful getting up.
Well, the last couple of years, we've done some things, trying to hang out kind of late at night. And, I've come to realize over the last probably 3 or 4 years, it just, it catches up with you, man. I don't know. I guess everybody has a different breaking point, but, we just can't run with them young bucks anymore, man.
No, man. 10 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed.
Oh, yeah. Last night, I mean, we're sitting around and just having a little fire with the kids and all that. 10:30 rolls around. I'm like, I'm hunting me a bed somewhere, and used to, I was just getting started at 10:30. So
that's the truth. And I hate when late games come on from the West Coast that don't even start till 10 o'clock because I'm already in the bed with my head on the pillow saying, in the first inning, I'm not going to be able to stay up and watch the rest of this game. But I mean, 10 years ago, yeah, man, I'd stayed up. And 10 years ago, I had a great time last night, but I'm not gonna say how late I was out, but I was ready to go to bed about 4 hours before I did.
Well, if you stayed up to watch any of the late games of the Braves, you sure weren't watching anything. The Braves, the early exit playoffs, the Dodgers pitching just shut them down, and the Braves starting pitching. I mean, did they even get off the bus or the plane or wherever? Did they just stay home? I mean, they must have all had postseason plans because they all wanted an early exit apparently.
The starting pitching, we talked about it, that it had the potential to be a weakness, that if the Braves were going to be successful in the playoffs, the starters had to keep us in the game and then hand it over to the bullpen, 6th, 7th, 8th inning.
Yep.
And the starters didn't do that. They didn't keep us in games. The Braves dug themselves a hole, and then they were trying to play catch up from then on out, and they just couldn't do it.
No, they didn't perform well, and got out to the Dodgers got out to early leads, usually 3, 4, 5 run leads, and it's just too insurmountable, for the Braves lineup to come back from, and looking at the lineup, and even the bullpen. I mean, where was Scott Downs?
Not on the roster.
Right. I mean, I don't know how you can make a decision like that. As good as the guy, pitched in the regular season. I mean, he got him out of many jams, and arguably the second best guy out of the bullpen next to Kimbrel, and it's so dependable. Just to, what you're gonna get with Downs, day in and day out, and Dan Uggla, not being on the postseason roster. I mean, but you're gonna hang a B.J. Upton out there who's batting $170, $180, and hadn't really done anything all year, and you're gonna leave a guy like Ugla out. I mean, Ugla, yeah, he's not batting, but about their numbers are relatively the same. But I think with a swing here, a swing there, when a guy makes contact, I mean, he could take it out of the park. And interesting stat with those guys, they didn't hit a home run in the whole series.
Jason Hayward, I believe, may have had the only home run in the series for the Braves. Now, the thing is, with Dan Ugla versus B.J. Upton, I agree with you. B.J. Upton shouldn't have been on the roster. If you're going to leave somebody off, it's got to be B.J. Upton because of how he performed and the other options that you had to replace him on the roster.
Jordan Schaefer? I mean...
Jordan Schaefer and Reed Johnson and those guys. You had suitable alternatives. With Dan Ugla, not having him on the roster, really the decision came down to Dan Ugla or Elliott Johnson, who essentially both are, 220 hitters. The difference is Ugla every once in a while will run into a baseball and hit at 480 feet, where the opposite is Elliott Johnson runs into a baseball, he hits at 310. Ugla still has that home run threat, so you're still going to get the same average. The only difference is Dan Ugla still gives you the power threat that Elliott Johnson doesn't give. I don't really understand. There are a lot of things that Freddie Gonzalez did that they're head scratchers to me. I don't understand them.
Well, 2 seasons now since Bobby Cox retired. Okay, and of course last year they had the little wild card single elimination game, which was the infamous infield pop-up rule. He didn't get a lot of chance to showcase any of his managerial style in the playoffs last year, but this year they outright made the playoffs, and it seems like to me, Jason, that it's the different team, different manager, same style of baseball. You see that they tend to play the same way in the postseason that they do in the regular season, which is swing for the fences. A lot of times, they have so much talent on the Braves team year in and year out. They get by with it in the regular season. They do. And when it comes to postseason, they don't play to manufacture runs. They get a guy on first base or in scoring position. It doesn't matter with no outs, 1 out. A guy, I've seen it so many times where they lead off with a double and don't even score. Okay, if you take the Dodgers, the Cardinals, or any other teams that make the playoffs, pretty much a perennial playoff team every year, they're going to score that guy 9 times out of 10 because they're going to manufacture runs. It don't matter if it's Freddie Freeman up to the plate, Jason Hayward. Swinging for the fences, man, in the playoffs, I just see more double play balls, more pop-ups where they don't even move the guy, and then, they send their defense back on the field. It just seems like to me it's the same style of baseball.
When you get into the playoffs, you can't sit there and wait for the 3-run homer because you're not getting the opportunity to face a team's 3rd, 4th, and 5th starter anymore when you get in the playoffs. You're facing really 1 through 3 for the most part, and those guys typically are pretty good. The teams that get in the playoffs, the reason they get there is because they pitch and they play defense,
right.
Period.
Right.
So you're going to face elite starters. And, going back to the Freddie Gonzalez thing, the thing, I'll just say it flat out pissed me off. It really did. You've got the best closer in the universe on your baseball team, and you are in an elimination game. You must win or you go home. We're not talking about just losing a regular season game. We're talking about your entire season on the line. And you're up a run late in the 8th inning, or late in the game in the 8th inning. You have the best closer on the planet, and you don't let him come out to pitch the 8th inning. So what happens? Hanging slider from Carpenter. Uribe hits the 2-run homer. Dodgers go up a run. Then they bring in the second best closer in all of baseball, and Hanley Jensen. He shuts the door. Ball game, series, Braves are on the golf course while Craig Kimbrell is still in the bullpen flipping the ball up and down in the 8th inning. Didn't even get the chance to come in.
Yeah, it just seemed like to me that the whole time that Gonzalez and the Braves, in game 4, that they were just conceding the series, because they did not pull out all the stops that they had available to them.
Yeah,
definitely.
And the argument is, well, Craig Kimbrell hasn't come on and pitched and gotten 6 outs all year long or in his career. Who cares? It's the playoffs.
Right.
I don't really give a crap.
This is the most crucial 6 outs that you face all year.
Your season's on the line. If you're going to lose the game, you want the best guy on your pitching staff on the mound. You want that guy beaten.
Yeah, if you're going to lose, go down in flames. Lose big. Don't just concede it. That's kind of the feeling I got was they just, especially when Uribe hit that go-ahead home run. I mean, it just seemed like that from that point on they just conceded. They just thought, well, it's over. And I'm like, this is the playoffs. This is your whole season. You could have survived at least one more game.
Yeah, UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network, and not taking anything away from Carpenter. Carpenter was one of the main reasons why the Braves got into the playoffs. He pitched extremely well. I'm not taking any shots at him. He did a fantastic job. It's just when you have the option of your season being on the line and you have to choose between, like a kickball game, Craig Kimbrell, David Carpenter, you had better choose Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, I mean, how much of a shutdown guy has he been all year? How many times have you seen the Yankees do the same thing with Mariano Rivera?
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
They would give him the ball in the 6th inning if they could.
Yeah, and I think he could have pitched, those last 3 innings, no doubt, or 4 innings, no doubt. I mean, I agree with you, Jason. There was a lot of things that I had questions about, and I know these guys know a lot more about baseball than they've forgotten more than I'll know.
I think that's debatable.
But at the same time, why don't you pull out all the stops? This is an elimination game. Not just, this is your season, and like you said, Kimbrell doesn't even warm up.
Yeah. Well, you had him in the bullpen. He was ready to go.
Right.
He was in the bullpen, ready to go, flipping the baseball up and down in the 8th inning. And you brought in Carpenter, and oh my gosh, don't even get me. We got to get out before I blow up. This is UnCleated on the Bishop Media Sports Network. When we get back, top 25 roundup. What in the world happened to Georgia? UnCleated. Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop, Bishop Media Sports Network.
When Heron Document Systems opened, a connected copier meant it was simply plugged into the wall. Well, things have changed. 30 years later, the copier is the focal point of document workflow. It's not just the printer, fax, and scanner, it's much more. In the medical office, it's integrating patient information with their electronic medical records. In the legal office, it's performing OCR, Bates stamping, and tracking expense for client billing. All of these changes over the past 30 years, and Heron Document Systems is still here. Still, providing your business with the best solution for your document and workflow pains. Every business experiences those pains, and that's okay. With Heron Document Systems, there is a better solution. Visit HeronDS.com for more information. Heron Document Systems in Brunswick, the efficient solution for your business.
Back, UnCleated, Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop, the Bishop Media Sports Network. So, we all get our hopes up. Go through LSU, knock them off, beat South Carolina, that gauntlet of a schedule that was at the beginning of the season. You get through that. Somehow, some way, you find a way to escape Knoxville with that win a couple of weeks ago that you should have lost that game. So you start thinking, well, every national champion, because we heard it, that word was beginning to get whispered.
Yep.
Every national champion has one of those escape games. Tennessee might have been Georgia's escape game. And then Missouri came to Athens and completely derailed Georgia's chances of a national championship.
They did. How costly of a victory was it in Knoxville? When you lose 3 guys, 2 of them for the year in Knoxville, and you come back. I mean, I just think that this is, Aaron Murray, the coaches, everybody did everything that they could to win this game. And they are so injury depleted
on offense
right now. On offense,
yeah.
That you got Aaron Murray out there. His whole comfortable, if you call it that, game plan all changes. Everybody, all eyes are on him. Everybody's looking to him to win the games. And he tried to force a lot of throws Saturday against Missouri that he normally wouldn't have made, because he's trying to make a play.
Well, he had nobody there to help him.
Exactly. So that's part of it right there. And when the Missouri defense scores a touchdown or so, and not only that, you get 2 picks, 4 turnovers altogether in the game. You're not supposed to win.
You said 34 points, and you given up by the defense, 41 total, and you said that everybody was trying to do everything they could, not the defense.
Well, it's the same story week in, week out with Georgia. Let's face it, I don't think there's nobody out there that's accused Georgia of having a defense. They played really well against LSU as far as the ground game goes. Okay, they held them, and that was the team I really worried about rushing the ball, because they can run the football. They're like Alabama. They can run the ball on virtually everybody, and they shut them down as good as they could have, and then but they still give up 35 a game.
I think if you're a Georgia fan, it's time that you got to a point where you were real with yourself and you just admitted our defense is terrible. Our defense actually looked fantastic one game of the season. One game of the year, did everything, executed takeaways, turnovers, keeping the offense off the field, keeping them from converting third downs. Looked fantastic. That was North Texas.
Yeah, and that ended up being a big win for them. If they're going, if that's going to be the staple game for the defense, then they're in trouble.
They are in trouble.
They're in big trouble.
How many times are you going to give up 35, 38, 40-plus points and ask Aaron Murray to bail you out? Because that is what essentially he has done all the way up to this point. And you're 100% right, man. You hit the nail on the head. He was making throws he had no business making because he was trying to force the issue to get that offense up off the ground because it was struggling, and he knew the defense was not going to keep Missouri off the scoreboard very long.
Yeah, because Georgia, they ended up putting up, offensively, they ended up putting up yardage like they have been all season. It was just another game, but the turnovers, because you're trying to, force some mistakes, and because you're down 18 points at one time in the game. So all the pressure's on Murray, and he made a lot of throws that he shouldn't have made, and really he probably could have gone away, walked out of there with 4 interceptions, and they just dropped it. You know what I mean? So a lot of pressure on them until they get some of their key guys back.
2 freshman running backs, largely freshman receiving core. You're missing your 2 best tailbacks, not arguably, you're also missing the best running back in the country. Your number 1 wide receiver went out the very first game of the year. You've lost your 2 and 3 receivers on top of that, and so now and that's what's happened. You're putting it all on Aaron Murray, and the Missouri game was really the first time where you had nobody that you came into depending upon in the beginning of the season that was healthy.
Yeah.
All your receivers were gone. Your 2 best running backs were gone. You got 2 freshmen running the football, and you say, all right, Aaron, let's do what we can. Defense isn't going to help you, though. Good luck.
Yeah, defense, yeah. And the talent is there every year. The talent is there. The scheme they run at Georgia defensively is not working. They have got to change up the scheme on defense. And I watched so many missed tackles that you are not going to stop anybody. You watch. When the next couple of games they have, you're going to have teams like Vanderbilt, Kentucky, they're all going to hang 30 on Georgia.
I agree.
Because they are a poor tackling team. They look like to me they're just not physical. Like the physical defense you have to win, to keep a team to under 20. You have to be physical. You have to go out and hit them in the mouth. And they just didn't do that against Missouri.
We had this conversation, you and I have had it actually multiple times, not just on the air, but when we're hanging out as well. And since Van Gorder left, the defense certainly has taken huge steps backwards. But just last year, all that NFL talent on the defensive side of the ball, and you don't win a national championship. And okay, so bad break that you didn't beat Alabama. Okay, bad break. So let's just take that equation. Look at the numbers. Go back and look at the numbers that Georgia's defense gave up last year, the points per game as well as yardage per game. You would think with all that NFL talent it would be minuscule. It's not.
Well, and then, the old days, and this was even, before mine and your time, they got their name to junkyard.
I'm 33 now, so be careful.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? You might remember some of this. But they got their names to the junkyard dogs because if you scored 14 points on them, and it didn't matter who you were. They played Houston one year, and Houston was averaging 50 a game, and they held them to 14. Mm-hmm. Because that's how Georgia got their reputation, was defense. They didn't score but, 14 to 17 on offense, even with the great Herschel Walker. But their defense wasn't going to give up but 10. Good luck beating them. And you don't have that today. It's like they're almost playing patty cake out there with the other team, and they're just not going to stop anybody. I mean, it's just, unless they get, and I'm not trying to throw Coach Grantham under the bus, but until they get somebody in there that's like a Irk Russell, there I go say that legendary name right there. Unless you get somebody in there that's like a Irk Russell-esque, you're not going to have a great defense at Georgia.
UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network. You said you're not throwing Grantham under the bus. I am. You're under the bus, buddy.
And you're not alone.
And here's the thing, Georgia fans, listen up. Every time we lose a game or Georgia loses a game, the first thing I hear is how bad a coordinator Mike Bobo is. Mike Bobo's not the problem. Mike Bobo offense has been scoring 30-plus points a game while the defense has been giving up 41.
Right.
Bobo isn't the problem, Georgia fans. Todd Grantham is the problem, and Georgia fans need to get smart about that. Get off Bobo's case. It was a miraculous thing that Georgia scored 28 points, or 26 points, however many they scored yesterday. They were in the high 20s on Saturday, with no healthy starters.
Right.
That is a testament to how good of a job Bobo is doing. The defense, Grantham has got to go. I'm officially starting that. Grantham's got to go.
And don't forget the offensive line woes that they've had.
Oh.
I mean, they can't even get a good starter in at left tackle. I mean, they're rolling out guys that are. I mean, I think they pulled a couple of guys out of the stands Saturday and put them in the game. There was a couple of big guys out there watching, and I think they suited them up to try them to just see if they could do a little better job. But going back to Grantham, I mean, yeah, I just don't see it happening with the guy. And here you go, Georgia fans. I'm gonna say it again. Alabama puts, and so does LSU, and many other schools out there. But Alabama puts consistently off their defense. They got every year 3-4 guys that go to the NFL on any given year. Okay, yeah, Georgia loses 4 key guys, a couple of safeties, linebackers, one of the guys in the middle, John Jenkins, now it's in the NFL. Great players. But I'm tired of hearing that. Well, they're young. Well, they're this. Well, they're that. Alabama reloads. Georgia seems like that they've been in rebuilding mode, as you alluded to earlier, since Van Gorder left. I mean, let's face it, Willie Martinez wasn't. I mean, he was the start of the downward trend.
He was terrible.
And now you got Grantham,
who's not much better.
Who you think, you got to give a guy 2 or 3 years in there to improve.
Or 10.
Well, they haven't improved. They haven't improved. Let's face it, they have not improved.
Let's just give him 10 years and consistently have the defense give up 40 points. Let's just do that, because that's what Grantham would like to do, because every year it's, well, I don't have this. I don't care what you don't have.
Well, tell that to Kirby Smart.
Yeah. We got to get out. We're up against a hard break. This is UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
When Heron Document Systems opened, a connected copier meant it was simply plugged into the wall. Well, things have changed. 30 years later, the copier is the focal point of document workflow. It's not just the printer, fax, and scanner. It's much more. In the medical office, it's integrating patient information with their electronic medical records. In the legal office, it's performing OCR, Bates stamping, and tracking expense for client billing. All of these changes over the past 30 years and Heron Document Systems is still here. Still, providing your business with the best solution for your document and workflow pains. Every business experiences those pains, and that's okay. With Heron Document Systems, there is a better solution. Visit heronds.com for more information. Heron Document Systems in Brunswick, the efficient solution for your business.
And welcome back, UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Top 25 roundup. The landscape of college football drastically changed this last weekend. We talked about Georgia, Missouri. Well, we had a ton of other stuff that went down. Oklahoma, Texas, Stanford went down. I mean, the whole landscape just completely, I don't want to say flipped, but we'll say shifted.
Yeah, I think the national championship picture is definitely, up in the air, so to speak, and a lot of teams that we felt like were going to be serious contenders. Now they've got that one hanging in the L column, so it's going to definitely change. They're going to need some help along the way to get into the championship game.
Well, let's get into this and get these games picked. Thursday night game, Miami travels to North Carolina. Miami is going to come in ranked 10th in the country. I don't think North Carolina can play with Miami if they weren't at home. It's going to be a close game. Miami wins.
I agree.
All right. UCF goes to Louisville. I don't even know why we consistently pick the Louisville games. We already know what the outcome's going to be. Louisville big.
Yeah, as long as Bridgewater's playing.
Here's an intriguing game. Arkansas, who got woodshedded this past week, gave up 52. They go on the road to Alabama. They might give up more than that.
Well, I think after the 48 they hung on Alabama hung on Kentucky. Yeah, I mean it's just they're gonna have to struggle to keep it under 60.
All right, Washington State on the road heads to Eugene to play the Quack Attack, who are coming off a big win over Washington. Washington State, no challenge.
Nope.
Oregon, I think at this point, if Oregon gets by Stanford, they're in. Florida State goes to Clemson. Florida State, fifth best team in the country. The polls say that Clemson's the third best team in the country. I'm going to let you go with this. I'm going to let you start.
Yeah, that's my upset pick of the week right there. Florida State, I think, is just deeper than Clemson. I think Taj Boyd is going to have a pretty decent game, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Noles.
This is going to be the first time that Clemson's faced a good defense all year long.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm taking Florida State.
I'm telling you, that defense at Florida State, all you've heard is Winston. Jameis Winston this, Jameis Winston that. But how about their defense? So a lot better than people think.
3:30 game, Iowa goes to number 4 Ohio State. Hold the phone. This game is going to be drastically overlooked. Iowa is going to give Ohio State all they want, and I think maybe Braxton Miller pulls it out in the end. Ohio State gets it done, but man, Iowa is going to give Ohio State a scare.
I agree. I think that might be a 7-point game or less.
Yeah, definitely. Ole Miss Ole Miss will be hosting LSU, who's coming off the big win over Florida. I don't think it's going to matter that the Tigers are on the road. They get it done.
Yes.
Auburn, 24th in the country now. They've slipped in the top 25 under the radar. Not a lot of folks paying them any attention. Big test on the road against the Aggies. 24 Auburn, 7 Texas A&M. Garrett, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Auburn Tigers in this game.
No way.
I know that the producer's not gonna let me slide in a second upset pick, but this one was a toss-up between the Florida State-Clemson game. I like Auburn to go on the road. Texas A&M has the same problem Georgia has. They have no defense. So I like for Auburn to get physical and take down Manziel and the Aggies.
That's the thing. That's why I'm not picking Auburn, is because I don't think Auburn can take down Manziel. Best player in college football. He's at home. No big deal. Gets it done. 3:30 game. UCLA, we talked about this. Now they've slid themselves into the top 10. Nobody's talking about them. Nobody's looking at them. They're 9th in the country now. Undefeated. 2-0 in the Pac-12. Tough test. They've got to go to Stanford in Palo Alto, beat a very physical Stanford team that just came off of a huge loss against Utah. Nobody saw that coming.
No.
Stanford's now 13th in the country. They're going to host the 9th-ranked Bruins. That's my upset pick. I'm going to take the 13th ranked Stanford Cardinal over UCLA, who's 9th ranked, even though really Stanford's better than UCLA, and we both know it.
Yeah, I think the polls are kind of flip-flopped on that one, but yeah, I'd have to go with the Cardinal. I think they're going to rebound from the huge disappointing loss to Utah, and I think they get it done. I think UCLA faces the first team, really that they can say, that they face first true competition. I think Stanford beats them.
UnCleated on the Bishop Media Sports Network with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop. I was just reminded that we're 2-4 on our upset picks. They just wanted to throw that in there so I would know.
Well, one that stands out in my mind is that, the Maryland-Florida State game. I actually gave them a chance in that game, and boy, was I way off.
Yeah, you were. I'm not even pretending like you weren't. That was ugly.
That was nasty.
Number 11, South Carolina on the road to Knoxville, Tennessee. I think South Carolina, new sense of energy. Georgia gets that conference loss. That's put South Carolina back in the mix. Florida goes down to LSU. It's wide open in the East now.
Yep.
South Carolina gets it done.
Yes.
Iowa State on the road against number 12, Baylor. Moving on, Baylor wins. You think?
I think it's going to be closer than you think.
You're kidding me.
Iowa State played Texas Tech pretty tough Saturday, and Baylor's vulnerable. So you better watch it. I think Baylor wins a close one, but closer than the experts think.
Wow. All right. 22, Florida on the road. 14, Missouri. Missouri now firmly in control of the SEC East. Florida needing a win coming off of the LSU loss to keep themselves in it. They dropped Missouri. They're done. I'm going to take the Gators to go on. I still just don't think that Missouri is very good, and especially now they had a big injury at a key position.
Yeah, but without James Franklin, I don't think they have much of a chance in this game. I like Florida to go on the road, and I like them 2 scores over Missouri.
Okay.
What can I say? They are just lucky. Because I think if you had James Franklin, you kind of have to go with the home team in this one. But without that, I think Florida's got this advantage.
All right. Yeah. Georgia goes on the road to play Vanderbilt. I think Georgia gives up 31 points and still wins.
Yeah, 34-31.
Yeah, something like that. It's going to be a close game. Texas Tech on the road in Morgantown playing West Virginia. Texas Tech is 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12. They're undefeated. West Virginia, of course, doesn't look very good, but I'm not real sure that Texas Tech is as good as they are. I'm going to take West Virginia to knock them off.
I agree with you, Jason, because Texas Tech was very vulnerable this past Saturday, and I just think West Virginia is going to come in. They're going to take that opportunity to knock off a top 20 team. They get it done at home.
Yeah. This is UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network. UNLV goes on the road, 17th ranked Fresno State. Let me repeat that. 17th ranked Fresno State, non-AQ, in a non-AQ conference. Fresno State, all the potential to be that BCS buster.
Yep.
Do they continue to get it done?
I think they beat UNLV, and they keep their undefeated season alive for another week.
I think this is going to be a close game. And I think Fresno State wins because they're at home, but this game's close. 18, Oklahoma, that were the team formerly known as Oklahoma, what we thought they were before Texas booted them in the mouth, and Texas isn't very good. 18th ranked Oklahoma on the road against Kansas. Oklahoma rebounds and wins.
Yeah, I'd say maybe by a score. 7 to 3 points, I think, is all they're going to beat them by.
Okay. Very intriguing game out in the Pac-12. 20 Washington. They played Stanford a couple weeks ago, gave them all they wanted. Washington played with Oregon for a little while, wasn't capable of keeping themselves in the game. Arizona State has pulled off a couple early wins so far. Interesting game. I'm going to take Arizona State at home to knock off Washington.
Wow.
Yeah.
That right there might be the game of the week in the Pac-12, just because of the matchup.
Yeah.
You have right there. I think Washington's got a little bit better defense. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you. I'm gonna have to say Arizona State at home. I think they knock off the Huskies.
Okay. TCU on the road at 21 Oklahoma State. Good Lord, I have no idea who to pick in that game.
Well, I'm gonna go with the home team just because they're at home, but I think that's the only spread in this game.
All right, well, folks tell me that you and I need to argue more, so I'm going to go with TCU.
Good.
All right, I'm going to pick TCU against Oklahoma State.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, all right. 23, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois gets in the top 25. They're on the road against Central Michigan. Not real sure why we're talking about this game. I guess because Northern Illinois is ranked. They win. Northern Illinois.
No doubt.
Yeah. 25 Wisconsin, my upset pick from last week over Northwestern that I got correct. Thank you very much. Wisconsin slides into the top 25. They're going to be on the road at Illinois. They get it done in Champaign. Wisconsin wins.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, that's going to wrap things up for the top 25. Hey, you know what? When we get back, we're going to talk about a show that actually starts Sunday night, or coming back Sunday night. That's actually one that I will carve time out of my schedule to watch. There are only a few. This is one of them. This is UnCleated with Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop, the Bishop Media Sports Network.
When Heron Document Systems opened, a connected copier meant it was simply plugged into the wall. Well, things have changed. 30 years later, the copier is the focal point of document workflow. It's not just the printer, fax, and scanner. It's much more. In the medical office, it's integrating patient information with their electronic medical records. In the legal office, it's performing OCR, Bates stamping, and tracking expense for client billing. All of these changes over the past 30 years, and Heron Document Systems is still here. Still, providing your business with the best solution for your document and workflow pains. Every business experiences those pains, and that's okay. With Heron Document Systems, there is a better solution. Visit heronds.com for more information. Heron Document Systems in Brunswick, the efficient solution for your business.
And welcome back. UnCleated, Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop on the Bishop Media Sports Network. So, a show that kicks off Sunday night or comes back on the air Sunday night that is the only, right now is the only show, not that I won't watch others, but it's the only show that I must know what time it's going to be on and where I'm going to be, because I'm going to try and make sure that whatever I got going on, that I'm going to be at home. Like, I won't even go out. Like, if my friends, I'm sorry, I got somebody's birthday, tough. Walking Dead's on. You're on your own. Walking Dead is the show. I have to admit, I'm kind of a zombie nerd, but you wouldn't know it by looking at me because I don't look like a...
No, you don't fit that
profile. I
No.
don't think so, but I do. Like, I'm a zombie nerd, so I love the show. It's great, right? Actually based on on an animated comic, or a graphic comic rather. So Walking Dead is the show that I actually will blow people. My phone you know how much my phone goes off. I turn it off.
Oh, man. I mean, you I can't believe you just said that. I mean, that is crazy. I have to second that. I mean, I love the show. It's a great show. My son is probably as big a fan, if not bigger, than me of the show. That one right there runs a close second to my favorite show, which happens to be Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. I can see that you're a son. I can see that. I used to ride motorcycles. I never rode, the cruiser Harley types. I rode the sport bikes, but there's something about them, chronicling the events of a biker gang, how they engage in the illegal activities. Let's face it. Now that's one my son is not a fan of, because he is not allowed to watch it till he gets about 25. That's funny. That's funny that your son, who is 11, right? 11?
No, he's 9.
Okay, well he's 9, so he's watching. You're letting him watch Walking Dead, but not Sons of Anarchy. That's funny.
Sons of Anarchy, believe it or not, is actually more graphic than The Walking Dead.
Wow. Okay.
Now as far as the zombies and all that, I mean, but the Sons of Anarchy is to be on national TV is pretty out there. It pushes a lot of thresholds.
All
That's
right.
just to say the least. But I love the show. I'm one of those that with me having a family and all that, I still have to DVR a lot of stuff, and that's one of them. But as soon as I get a DVR, it's like the next day or so, I'm like, okay, when can I sit down and watch this, because I have to watch it. I mean, if I don't get a chance to watch it, Dad's not in a good mood.
That's what I need to start doing. I need to pick another show and just DVR, because I really don't have the time to sit down and another show. Of course, it's not on the air anymore. That I actually did the same thing with, as far as making time. Like I would blow people off just to. Actually, true story. When I was in college, I had a Wednesday night class that was at the same time that this show was on. The show was Lost, It was at the same time
That's
that Lost
another
was
good one.
on. I worked it out with my professor, and I told her it's your class is on during Lost. So like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna come. I'm not gonna be here a lot. Just throwing that out there. So if I'm doing well in the tests, just don't count my absences. Like, I'll study outside of class and get your notes and all that. And she just looked at me like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, I ended up having about 22 absences in the class, but I made a B.
How did you do that?
I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, Lost, man. It was that is the one show, like I got so enthralled in the show and in the characters, and it was just it was the first show that I really, really enjoyed, and yeah, man, Wednesday nights when it was on,
it was a good show. I didn't watch it while it was coming on, but I've caught up with them later, and I've seen about 5.5 seasons of it, and it was pretty out there.
Yeah,
a little bit later in the seasons, it got some of it lost me.
That's why it was great. Another true story is, Lost was on. Obviously, it was on in its heyday while I was in college. Some friends and I actually had a Lost marathon party for all of season 2. We started at noon that day because the season premiere was the next day.
Yeah.
So we started for season 3. So we went back and started season 2 at noon that day. We watched 12 straight hours of Lost to midnight. No one got up to use the bathroom. No one went to get any food. No one moved for 12 hours at all from where they first started to finally the girl, she still lived with her parents, and her parents came in and said, "It's midnight. It's time for y'all to go."
And I thought you said you was a zombie nerd. I mean, 12 hour, man.
12 hours, 12 straight hours.
The only thing I can do for 12 straight hours is sleep.
I wish I had 12 hours of sleep this morning. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's it for us. We're going to call it a day. UnCleated, Garrett Gibbs, Jason Bishop, the Bishop Media Sports Network.